So hey guys, you notice this beautiful polar craft in the background. We're here today at Freeway Sports Center in Fenton, Michigan. Jim and the staff here are loaded up to bear with great boats for big water trolling. You just heard an awesome report for Port Clinton, Ohio. Well, one of the best ways to get out on the big water of Lake Erie is a 20 Kodiak that I'm standing behind or in front of right now. It's one of my tournament fishing boats that I use each year. They've also got a good supply of Angler Quest pontoons, the best fishing pontoon on the water by far. If you haven't ever been at Freeway and looked at this selection of boats, you really got to get down here. One of the best things is they've got boats right now. A lot of dealerships are struggling to get inventory. Jim and the guys here have got lots of boats, so get on down. That's not going to last for long, obviously. This time of year, a lot of boats are going to power off the dealership's lots. And to get the best selection and to get the boat you've always dreamed about, get on down here, talk to one of the guys at Freeway Sports Center right at the Thompson Road exit off of 23 here in Fenton, Michigan. Check out the full line of Polarcraft boats at polarcraft.com. So hey guys, Port Clinton, Ohio, the Bass Islands, basically from the reefs out in front of Davis-Besse all the way through to Missouri's boat launch in Sandusky Bay. This really is go time for that piece of water. You know, there's a misconception out there that's floated around for years that all the fish in Lake Erie swim to the far western basin over in Monroe and that Maumee Basin, and they all spawn by going up the rivers, and then they all start migrating back to the east. Nothing could be further from the truth. Walleye spawn on hard bottom all throughout Lake Erie. You can find them spawning over by Huron, between Huron and Sandusky on Ruggles Beach. You can find them spawning out there off of the tip of Kelly's on the Gull Island Shoal. You can find them on all kinds of number of smaller reefs in and around the Bass Islands. The bottom line is these fish don't think the way you normally think. These are lake fish, they're not river fish. They use rivers when they're close to rivers, but a majority of the fish on Lake Erie actually spawn on the lake. So let's talk about great early season tactics. If you're just going out there and you've never really fished this early, even though we had a hard winter, we've also had this big thaw. And my prediction is that the Bass Islands fishing will begin actually this week or this upcoming weekend. Hardy guys are going to get out there, they're going to put their boats in, they're going to have great success. Early season success I'm holding in my hand. And a lot of guys use bandits, and that's okay. But if you really want to tap into a lot of fish, my suggestion is use some shallow diving, more subtle baits. This one here is a P10. This is one of my favorite cloudy day colors. This is an HLS Customs. It's called the Freak. This one here is just a stock color with Walleye Nation Creations larger size shallow reaper. It's a square bill reaper, SB, S as in Sam, B as in boy, square bill reaper. This is a really good high bait similar to this. It's going to give you a really soft, subtle action. I do really, really well early in the year, pre-spawn, on these more subtle action baits. Now, where do you look for fish? You know, that's really pre-spawn one of the biggest questions, and I see a lot of people make one single mistake, and that is they go back to their traditional depths that they finished the year in the fall, and certainly you can run into a few fish out there, but if you really want to cash into the fish and you're in that Ohio waters, I would fish shallow. I would fish 15 feet or less, or I would fish very close to the major reef structures where you know they're going to spawn. Yes, fish will hold in the deeper water outside those reef structures while they're waiting for water temp and their body temp to rise up to that 42 to 45 degree area that they're going to spawn in. And that's how you can catch them with these trolling. So let's talk about that deep water. If you're finding lots of marks in the deep water and it's pre-spawn clearly less than 43, 44 degrees, what's happening is a majority of the day, the bigger females are going to slide into the upper 1/3 of that water column. And the reason they're going to do that is they're going to use the warming surface water as a way to get their eggs to ripen and get ready to lay. The sunnier the day, the calmer the day, the higher these fish are going to get. It is really not unusual for me to pull these shallow diving baits as little as 20 feet behind my offshore boards and catch really, really nice limits of some super big fish pre-spawn. Same is true in shallow water. A lot of times those deeper staging fish will come and lay 4, 5, 6 to 10 feet below the surface. You've also got a group of fish that's going to just go ahead and head up into the shallower water to solve the temperature problem that way. And so when you're trolling along shorelines, don't be afraid of 8 to 12 feet of water. That can be packed with really big fish that are using that dirtier, shallower water as a way to warm up. Now, whether they spawn right there or swim to the closest hard bottom, you know, that's really up to the fish. I'm not a fish, I don't know, but I do know that they're going to search out warming temperatures at this time of the year. So whether that's shallow water inside of the reefs or hard bottom areas they're going to spawn, or whether that's high in the column in deeper water outside those reefs. A great example would be Northwest Reef off of North Bass Island. That's one of my favorite secret spots, if you will, for catching really big fish early in the year. And the reason is because that's surrounded by some relatively deeper water, 28 to 35 feet of water there by North Bass Island. But it's really good spawning habitat, and what you'll find is a lot of the bigger fish will hold in that deeper water outside Northwest Reef, and that's where I catch them, not on top of the reef. Of course, if you're a reef fisherman, you can go ahead and catch them right on top of the reef on all the different reefs out in front of Davis-Besse. Now, let's talk about when and where to switch over to bandits and to deep reapers. Typically, I start going to these baits once the spawn has occurred. So from 45 degrees on, then I transition over to bandits. Both of these baits, both pre-spawn and after spawn, until probably the end of April, I'm probably running the speed about 1.2 to 1.5 miles an hour. That's kind of my range until water temps hit about 55 degrees. Then you can start bumping it up. Why do I like to switch over to bandits once they go ahead and get done spawning? Because that's when the fish will tend to go ahead and drop down to that 13 to 22 feet down in the zone. And I don't like to run a ton of line out. These basically start getting really hard to deal with once you get 100, 150 feet of line out. Will they dive down 12 feet? Sure. But you've got to let so much line out it becomes a mess. That's when I go to these, and I start running these out maybe 40, 60, 80, 100. And that gets me into that 13 to 21 foot zone that I really like to target fish post-spawn on Lake Erie. So again, when you're targeting these early fish, second half of March and May and April, start with the shallower diving P10s and square-billed reapers. Troll them slow at 1.2 to 1.5 miles an hour. Post-spawn, you're going to go ahead and go to deep divers and go ahead and chase those marks all the way down to 22, 24 foot down. Hey, whatever you do, get out there and enjoy this great fishery we have called Lake Erie. Also a great suggestion for accommodations. I've been seeing a lot of posts recently about, hey, where do I stay there in Port Clinton, Ohio? It's a great place I've always wanted to go. I have a suggestion to you. My friend Mark Kalick owns Bay's Edge Resort. It's a condominium resort with a Bay's Edge bait and tackle. It's got a marina for boat slips. Whether you're coming in to fish with the charter service that's offered right there out of Bay's Edge, or whether you're bringing your own boat, Mark and his staff welcomes both type of fishermen. You don't have to fish with his charter service in order to stay at Bay's Edge. And I find that staying at Bay's Edge is really, really convenient because they've got the tackle and bait store right there. They've got fish cleaning available. If you get off the water and you're just not in the mood to clean fish, you can have their guys do it there too. Plus you can keep your boat in the water or yank your boat out and keep it up on land. Either way, it's up to you. Check them out in Port Clinton at Bay's Edge Condominiums. Bay's Edge Bait and Tackle. But hey, we'll see you out there sometime. I'll be filming in the Port Clinton area sometime in April. We hope to see you on the water.
The Bait Shop in Waterford is your one-stop live bait and fishing tackle destination. With an awesome selection of rods and reels, custom-poured jigs, soft plastics, and panfish baits. The Bait Shop also has seasonal items for ice fishing, the Spring River Walleye Run, and summer salmon, bass, walleye, and pan fishing. Visit the Bait Shop in Waterford for all your bait and tackle needs.
So hey guys, you notice this beautiful polar craft in the background. We're here today at Freeway Sports Center in Fenton, Michigan. Jim and the staff here are loaded up to bear with great boats for big water trolling. You just heard an awesome report for Port Clinton, Ohio. Well, one of the best ways to get out on the big water of Lake Erie is a 20 Kodiak that I'm standing behind or in front of right now. It's one of my tournament fishing boats that I use each year. They've also got a good supply of Angler Quest pontoons, the best fishing pontoon on the water by far. If you haven't ever been at Freeway and looked at this selection of boats, you really got to get down here. One of the best things is they've got boats right now. A lot of dealerships are struggling to get inventory. Jim and the guys here have got lots of boats, so get on down. That's not going to last for long, obviously. This time of year, a lot of boats are going to power off the dealership's lots. And to get the best selection and to get the boat you've always dreamed about, get on down here, talk to one of the guys at Freeway Sports Center right at the Thompson Road exit off of 23 here in Fenton, Michigan.